Chapter 14, Jobs and the Design of Work. Most of us work in organizations. We all tend to have a job, something we do. The work, hopefully, is productive. And interestingly, when you think about jobs, there are many perspectives of how people would describe work in their jobs. Just talking to different people you know can cause that same reaction. So there tends to be 6 patterns that tend to use to describe work. An activity which comes in value from the performance and the person is accountable. Provides a person with positive personal effect and identity. It's something that adds to profit. It's a physical activity that somebody tells you to do. It's physically and mentally strenuous and not necessarily pleasant. And it's an activity that's for a specific period of time and is not a positive effect. If you think of different people and ask them how they view work, you'll probably get variations of these 6 patterns. Jobs and organizations. There's a task and authority relationship, and basically jobs are your building block, and they're interdependent, and they're there to complete and contribute to the organization's mission. Traditionally, how we have determined how to design our jobs: scientific management, job enlargement and rotation, job enrichment, and job characteristics. So if I look at scientific management, it tends to lean on work simplification, primarily one right way to do a job. It tends to be defined by management industrial engineering. The worker executes it. And one negative is you don't always tend to use the human capacity or ingenuity. This logic would be an example of years ago when hourly or union people said all they wanted was my hands, and when I walked in the door they'd cut off my head because they didn't use anything I had in my head. Job enlargement and rotation. Job enlargement is giving you more variety in the tasks that you do along that same logic. Move you around to other jobs. And the idea of this is to get away from over-specializing someone, plus increasing worker satisfaction so that they have more variety. Job enrichment is giving you more responsibility. You may be doing things that your managers used to do. Gives you more chance for opportunity and achievement. The job characteristics theory looks at fitting the right job to the right individual. The JDS, Job Diagnostic Survey, looks at 5 core characteristics: skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback from the job. This model illustrates in the core job dimensions, your skill variety, task identity, and task significance tend to lead to the critical psychological states of meaningful work. Autonomy leans over to responsibility for outcomes, and feedback is knowing how they did. All of those critical psychological states will then pull over to the personal work outcomes of positive motivation, quality, satisfaction, and low absenteeism and turnover. With the job characteristic model, you can look at a particular job and determine its overall motivating potential score. It's a survey you take that can indicate that particular job's motivating potential. Engagement. Engagement is being there for your work, harnessing the organizational members in their work roles. When you're engaged, you're really actively participating, full engagement. Social information processing. A lot of the prior traditional job designs focused on the physical aspects. The social information processing model emphasizes more that interpersonal aspects, looking at the premises of people give you cues, how we judge our jobs from other people's point of view, what other people tell us about our jobs, and that positive and negative feedback. Ergonomics and interdisciplinary framework. Ergonomics is adapting your work environments for a positive effect on the employer or worker. There's different types of job designs associated with ergonomics and interdisciplinary framework. Mechanistic and motivational, they tend to be similar to the work simplification we discussed earlier in scientific management, and biological and perceptor motor tend to be more related to what I've experienced in work, where you're designing the job to make sure it's properly supporting you and your body in the correct ways. Different cultures look at different job designs in different ways. Japanese looks at the lean approach, using committed employees and ever-expanding responsibilities. And the Japanese approach of lean production is very much infiltrating into the US market. Socio-technological systems, giving equal attention to the technical or physical and the social considerations of job design. The German approach, by definition of the culture, they value hierarchy and authority relationships. They focus strongly on the techno-centric, where you were very focused on technology and engineering. They are slowly moving to the anthropocentric for considering human considerations. Scandinavian approach, again, their culture, very social oriented, very worker oriented. Worker well-being, should have a safe, both physically and mentally, environment. Work design and well-being. To design a job that's healthy and productive, you want the worker to have more control, to reduce their ambiguity, manage conflict, and improve their task job design. So looking at increasing worker control, give workers the opportunity to control what they do in their workplace. Design the machines and tasks so that they are operating at their optimum. And find something that will give them feedback to make sure that indicates they're doing things correctly. Reducing uncertainty, timely and complete information. That can be said for any situation. That's always a positive. Make the work clear and unambiguous work assignments. Don't just give directions with no support. Improve the communication at shift change time. If any of you have worked between shifts, that handoff is very important. And increase employees' access to information so that they can reduce that uncertainty. Managing conflict, use participative decision making. Leadership supervisory styles, supportive. And to avoid those conflicts, have the sufficient resources needed so you avoid the conflict. Improving task job design, enhance those core job characteristics. Realize assembly line work is not the same as service work, so don't necessarily make them equal in design. Some of the contemporary issues in the design of work, we now have many more people telecommuting, alternative work patterns, job sharing, flex time, 4-day weeks, 3 on, 3 off. Techno stress. I don't think there's anybody that cannot comment on stress caused by new and advancing technologies or just the speed of everything that's expected nowadays. Task revision. You have a task and the outcome that you expect is not what happens, so you may revise that task to get the expected outcome. And skill development. Realizing the situation and design for work is you need to make sure that you've got the training to connect the skill gaps. Changing nature of work. 2 central needs for human nature. We want to engage in productive work, we want to feel productive, and we want to form healthy relationships. So work, as we determine, means different things to different people. And as I said, poll any of the people around you and they will have different perspectives. You want to design jobs with sensitivity to cultural values and beliefs, and you do want flexibility.